Kid, you're old enough. It's time you learned about performance spaces.
Performance spaces!
Today, we're taking a quick tour of all the different spaces of a theater. We'll start with the playable spaces, which is the areas where you will be performing or you'll be visible to the audience. Then we'll move to the just off stage spaces where you'll do crossovers and entrances and exits. Then finally, we'll go to the technical spots where you might not actually go, but are part of a theater performance nonetheless. So let's go. In theater, we have all sorts of words and terms that are unique to what we do. Right now I'm sitting on the stage, which you probably already guessed, and right next to me is a little piece of tape called a spike mark. These are used to mark where we put set pieces and sometimes where the actors need to stand to get the best lighting. This particular theater is a proscenium theater. It has what's called a proscenium arch that separates the upstage area from the far downstage area. I've partially opened the curtain so you can see where that dividing line is. Right now, I am behind the proscenium arch, and now I am in front of the proscenium arch, or I am downstage of the proscenium. This little bit of the stage that sticks out past the proscenium is called the apron. You may have set pieces that fly in and out or get rolled on and off, but that's really the extent of your playable spaces. Sometimes the director may have you act in the audience or go up in the catwalks too, but those are a little bit more unusual. You're likely going to have to make some entrances and exits during your show. To do that, we enter and exit through the wings. The wings are the things that separate our offstage space from our onstage space. I'm going to be exiting offstage left through the wing. As I walk through here, I have to be careful that I'm watching out for people who are going to make their entrances or for any set pieces that might be coming on or off during my scene change. We do not hang out in the wings unless you have a reason to be there. You could get hurt. To get from one side of the stage to the other without being seen by the audience, we utilize what's called a crossover. So after you exit from one of the wings and you want to make an entrance on the opposite wing, you have to use the crossover. We have to be very careful in crossovers because sometimes they can be pretty tight, there can be cables, it can be really dark, and there's other people also making their crossovers. We do not run through the crossover. You could trip and get hurt or hurt someone else. Your theater may include an orchestra pit where the orchestra or band plays from. Sometimes the orchestra pit is just lower than the stage, sometimes it's actually underneath the stage. And if your theater doesn't actually have a spot set aside for the orchestra, whatever area the orchestra is playing from, that's usually called the pit. But if you don't have an orchestra pit, where's your timeout spot? You might have a scene shop where the set is built. We never, ever go in the scene shop unless you're invited. There's a dressing room where you put your costumes and your makeup on. You might have a fly system that allows lights, curtains, and set pieces to fly in and out from above. We do not touch the fly system. We don't touch the fly system.
We don't touch the fly system.
You may also have a control booth. A control booth is where the sound and the lights are run from. In addition to the people who run the sound and the lights, you may also have the stage manager up here who's communicating with everybody through one of these headsets. They might be calling hundreds of sound, light, and set cues from up in the control booth. Because they're communicating up here, the control booth is closed off so that the audience can't hear what they're doing. There are a ton of other things that you might encounter in a theater. You might have a trap door in the stage that allows an actor to make an entrance seemingly out of nowhere. You might have a turntable that rotates the set in the middle of the stage. You might be on a different kind of stage entirely, something called a thrust, where the stage sticks out into the audience and you're a little bit more surrounded. On those ones, you even have a different entrance called a vom. And I'm not going to share the story of where that name comes from. When you're working in a new space, just make sure that you know your theater and how to be safe in it. And if you're ever not sure, you just ask your director or your stage manager. I'm Tim Kraack, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. All right, kid. Now get up there and make us proud.